Hello everybody, my name is Raxef, and I hope you all had a very enjoyable BlizzCon weekend. Now before I get into the video, I do want to let you know that I won't be publishing videos covering all of the upcoming features and announcements from BlizzCon in depth. There's a wonderful YouTuber by the name of Bellular, who you already probably know of, who has done that exact same thing, and his videos are absolutely amazing, so I'd totally suggest you go check those out if you want to know more along the lines of what the specific features are and what they could possibly mean. In this video instead, what I'm going to be doing is a roundup of the top 5 features of Battle for Azeroth that I'm most looking forward to and why. With that being said, let's jump into it. The first feature for Battle for Azeroth that I'm most looking forward to is an Island Expedition. Now, very briefly, for those of you who don't know, Island Expeditions are pieces of content where you can queue up and be grouped with 2 other players to venture out to an uncharted island, clear out its inhabitants, fight some members of the opposing enemy faction, and take the island's resources for yourself. What was most intriguing to me about this particular feature was the fact that Blizzard seemed to really be pushing how sophisticated their AI was for the enemy NPCs of the opposing faction that will arrive to the island shortly after you and combat you. They said that basically the AI should be on a level that matches almost if you were playing against real humans. They said that this AI difficulty could be set at different levels, similar to how you can set different levels to a dungeon or a raid, normal, heroic, mythic, etc. Now, ultimately, what I'm hoping for this AI is that Blizzard will take it from the NPCs that they're putting into these islands to face off against you, and then move that into a more broader PvE sense. I don't really know exactly how it would work in raids if we had really sophisticated boss AI, but it would be something that I'd be very interested to test out and see perhaps if it could have a permanent home in the World of Warcraft. I also really like the fact that you can set these islands to be a PvP area where instead of 3 enemy NPCs coming to you, you can have 3 opposing enemy players come to you and you do battle against them for domination of the island. This new type of PvP content will be a really great break from the monotony that can be arenas and random battlegrounds. Secondly, Blizzard announced that a PvP toggle would be coming to the World of Warcraft. This means that they will be doing away with the normal or PvP server monikers and just having there be, I'm assuming, regular servers and then RP servers, and then once you're within that server, you can choose whether or not you want to be open to PvP or not. Personally, I'm really excited for this because as someone who came from a PvP server and is now just on a normal PvE server, I've really been missing the thrill that is worldwide PvP. And I think it's really great that Blizzard is taking great care to make sure that their players never really feel locked or committed to what their server says it has to be. They're giving players more choice and more options, and ultimately I think that leads to a much healthier game environment overall. I still need to see what kind of system they implement in terms of rewards. I don't want the rewards for PvP to be so great that it almost forces people to PvP, but at the same time, I don't want them to be so limited or so small that people really wonder, well, why should I take the extra effort and possible inconvenience of PvPing if by the end of the day any rewards that I earn aren't really going to be all that great. Thirdly, and probably the feature that I'm most looking forward to in Battle for Azeroth, is Warfronts. Now, I'm actually kind of pleased with myself that I sort of predicted this in my last video where I covered my top 5 BlizzCon predictions. I think it's great that Blizzard is returning to their Warcraft roots and putting some RTS Warcraft mechanics within the World of Warcraft. I'm really excited to see what these 20-player PvE events look like, because they're not exactly dungeons or raids, but they're not really battlegrounds either. They're kind of this middle of the way event where you gather resources and you build up your troops and you upgrade them in various ways, and then you send them out to siege a key point and then attempt to take that point back from the enemy faction. I think this feature is going to be great for players who want more organized PvE content, but don't really want to do more dungeons or raids. I'm definitely looking forward to see how Blizzard implements difficulty for the Warfronts, if they're going to go with the same sort of tiered strategy that they have been doing for dungeons and raids, if you have a normal mode and a heroic mode, and then a mythic mode or mythic plus mode where you get to choose just a higher, ever-increasing level of difficulties. I'm really hoping it does go that route, because I could see these 20-player events being sort of competitive in the same sense as people who try to push Mythic rating or who try to push really high keys in Mythic Plus dungeons. Now, ultimately, what I would really, really like to see here is for Blizzard to take these 20-player PvE events and develop them into 20 versus 20 player PvP events, so that you have two factions on either side just kind of warring against each other and sieging key points. It would be very similar to some battlegrounds that we have now, but I think that Blizzard is smart enough to come up with a way to take these RTS-like mechanics and they're framing them in a PvE way and simply just changing them or shifting them a bit and working with some balance in order to make it so that a total of 40 players, 20 on each side, could get together on this map and charge up their minions and upgrade them and just sort of siege each other, and then, of course, one victor will come out in the end. The fourth feature that I'm most looking forward to in Battle for Azeroth is allied races, and it's not for the reason that you might think. While it is great that we are getting some more races in the World of Warcraft universe that we can play, I think it's a much greater improvement that Blizzard touched on after they announced these allied races, and that's the fact that once this system is now in place and we have these allied races, it's a very, very simple thing to just continuously add more and more playable races to the game. So right off the bat, we know we're getting 6 new playable races, but perhaps by the end of the expansion, there could be 2 additional ones, or maybe we can come to expect 2 or 4 new races every expansion based upon what kind of races are most prevalent there. That is what I'm really excited about, because that means that Blizzard is taking a good hard look when it comes to character customization, and they're attempting to give players as much as they possibly can in order to create that one character that fits you just right. In addition to this, Blizzard did mention that they were looking at more customization options for currently existing races. One of those races that stood out in particular were orcs. They did mention that they were looking at some sort of feature or switch or toggle that you could access at the barbershop, which would allow you to change the posture of your orc. So most players who have orcs know that their orcs are kind of hunched over and it almost kind of looks like they have back problems, where Blizzard is looking to bring to the game a toggle that will allow your orc to stand upright like Thrall, and that is something that I know a lot of orc players have really been wanting for a long time. So overall, this whole allied races system is just a big indicator that Blizzard is taking a good hard look at character customization and really pushing as much as they can in order to give as many customization options as possible to the player base. The last feature that I'm really looking forward to in Battle for Azeroth is the Heart of Azeroth itself. The Heart of Azeroth is basically an artifact quality medallion that you receive at the beginning of the expansion from Magni Bronzebeard. This is going to be like our artifact weapon throughout the whole expansion. And we carry this medallion with us so that we can absorb a new power called Azerite passively. We don't really need to click on artifact power tokens in our bags anymore. This power gain will just happen as we adventure through the land itself and we down bosses and loot chests. All of this power gathering is going to happen automatically. As we power up the Heart of Azeroth, we're going to be able to imbue various armor pieces with various traits, kind of like the Netherlight Crucible. However, this differs from the Netherlight Crucible in that these traits aren't random at all. If you're looking at a helm that can be empowered by the Heart of Azeroth, and then you loot another same version of that helm, the traits that you're going to be able to imbue in that helm will be exactly the same in comparison to the two helms. This means that there will be no RNG when it comes to empowering your armor with the Heart of Azeroth. Furthermore, these particular traits are sorted into various categories. The example that was given is that some traits will be offensive while other traits will be utility, but all of the traits will have some sort of viability in your gameplay depending on how you want to play your characters. Once again, this is going back to what I keep on stressing from Blizzard, is that they're giving us more customization, more ways to play the game, and at the end of the day, that is what I really am looking for the most for Battle for Azeroth, and it seems like they're giving it to us. So there's still a lot of information left to be gathered regarding the Heart of Azeroth and how exactly it will empower our various armor slots and what it will empower them with, but I do know that I am very much looking forward to using it in the upcoming expansion. And that's going to do it for today's video. If you liked it, then of course give it a thumbs up. If you had something else that you saw announced at BlizzCon that you were really excited about that I didn't cover, or perhaps you're not excited about the Battle for Azeroth at all and you really just want to focus on World of Warcraft Classic, then of course leave me a comment in the section down below. And if you like my channel and you want to keep up to date with the types of videos that I'm making, then of course feel free to subscribe. With that being said, I hope to see you guys in the next video. See you later!